Back to the Silverman Show. My guest today is Maria Dimakas, an expert in condominium law, and we have Nick still on the line. How are you, Nick?
Well,
you still
thank
there?
you.
And
Listen, I heard about the bylaw, but we have this bylaw in place has not been repealed.
Okay.
Now, is still valid our bylaw? That's what I would like. I understand what you said, that the people that do not want to pay this and that, but still there is a bylaw in place.
If your bylaw actually contains that requirement that the owners have to approve the budget, then yes, it would still be valid as long as it's not repealed. Now, there may be a specific procedure in there. There may be some exceptions in there or whatnot. But it's very surprising that I would see that. Is yours a commercial condominium or is it a residential?
Residential.
It's residential. Oh, it's pretty interesting. It must be a much older condo.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
35 years old.
35 years, yeah.
Now, as per a special assessment, I can understand what you said, but this special assessment can be levied only for exceptional repairs.
No.
Not for major repairs that has been, for example, if we have a work order to repair balconies, to repair a garage, this and that, costing millions of dollars, that should be not levied like this, but should go through the reserve fund study, and according should be budget.
Well, there's two issues you raised. Number one is, and just to clarify, the special assessment is not levied in order to pay for a major repair or replacement necessarily. It's levied when you have a shortfall of funds that you need in order to pay for something, regardless of whether it is a major repair or replacement or an operating deficit that you're trying to minimize or eliminate. Now, as for the other point, do you levy a special assessment when you need to repair your balconies, for example?
Yes.
Well, if the board and past boards, because it's not necessarily the fault of a current board, but if boards over time have not been following their reserve fund studies and ensuring that there's sufficient funds in their reserve to pay for expenditures like repairs and replacements to the balconies, then it may be necessary to levy a special assessment, but that special assessment is levied for the purpose of that reserve fund expenditure. So it goes into your reserve.
Very good, yes.
Okay.
What about, Maria, regarding the realty taxes?
Yes, I'm sorry, could you repeat your question on that?
Why, as a corporation,
the
condominium corporation has to pay realty taxes?
It doesn't.
We have in our budget. We are paying $100,000 a year.
What?
That's
$100,000.
Are you not
sure?
paying taxes yourself?
Yes, we are paying individual unit owners. They are paying property taxes, but as a corporation, we are paying realty taxes.
That doesn't sound right. That does not sound
There's
right at all.
Very good. I really appreciate it. This is a very good show.
Well, thank you very much.
Thanks, Nick.
I would definitely
Take a look
get a
at
hold
that.
of somebody and some lawyer or whatever, Maria being here, and find out where that $100,000 is going.
Are you suggesting, Mr. Silverman, to have a condominium lawyer or a criminal lawyer?
My lips are sealed. My lips are sealed.
Very good. Thanks.
Have a good day.
Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Well,
that was an interesting one, I have to say.
Yeah. Where do you think?
I'm not even going to go there.
That's the most amazing. I know that I wish the corporation were paying the property taxes. It would certainly alleviate the strain on us for a bit. Okay, we have Jay from Mississauga. Hello, Jay.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. You have a question?
Yes, I do. If I buy a condo as an investment and rent it out, and if there's any illegal activity going on there, which is found by the police and whatnot, what's my liability as a condo owner, and what's the liability of the tenant?
Oh.
Good question. Well, let me look at it from the condo side of things. I'm going to leave the criminal side alone. But strictly speaking, you as an owner are the first person responsible for any damage that your tenant causes, or for any costs that your tenant causes the condo to incur. So you are the first point of contact. Now, having said that, most condo boards and management companies realize that some owners are not aware of the activities of their tenants, and they try and collect from the tenant as well, but they don't have to.
Okay, so they will come after me, and then,
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately.
All right. Thank you very much.
Well,
You're
just
welcome.
before you go, I just want to tell you one thing. If you're talking about illegal activities that are criminal, then you're into an entirely different ballgame. And then under the provincial legislation, if I'm not mistaken, they can seize every one of your assets in
That's right.
in that unit.
That's right.
They can get into your bank accounts, they can get into your cars, they can get into whatever you have and grab it. And the onus is up to you, if I remember correctly from having done a couple of these stories, is to prove that you are, A, completely unaware of what was going on and have no responsibility for it. Believe me. And the government are not generous and lovable when it comes down to this sort of thing. They'll grab first and you have to fight afterwards.
Okay.
So you better make sure who you rent to.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
Take care. Have a
Take
good
care.
day.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Okay, we have some time here to go back to the famous, nefarious, harmonized sales tax.
Not so harmonized.
Not so. We're not singing a tune here with a harmony. That's for sure. Will the government, do you think, take account of the fact that there's an awful lot of voters and an awful lot of condominiums, and that perhaps they better fine-tune this thing?
I would hope so. There's certainly a lot of lobbying going on among unit owners themselves. The Young Corridor, for example, has an association of about 200 condos, if I'm not mistaken, that have lobbied the government. I know the Canadian Condominium Institute, primarily through Armand Conant, has been lobbying very strongly to mitigate the harmonized sales tax on condominiums. Whether or not the government does it, if I could predict that, I would probably win the lottery as well. So.
How much do you think is going to raise the average cost?
The numbers being thrown out there are around the 6.5% range to perhaps 7 or 7.5, depending on who you speak to. But that's just strictly for the harmonized sales tax. It doesn't include your annual normal budgetary measures for inflation. So you're looking at about 6.5% from what I understand.
Okay, and this is going to be on...
Everything from management services to housekeeping to security services, cleaning services, elevator maintenance, anything in your building, any service you purchase for your building to operate, you are going to be responsible for paying the HST on top of that. Like I said, the only two areas where there are exemptions are for water and for insurance fees.
Okay, why is it that the government didn't have a look at this in the beginning and realize how this was going to impact? Because a homeowner, a private homeowner, non-condominium, is not going to get hit nearly as hard.
No, certainly not, because they're not going to have the same services that, of course, a condominium has. And unfortunately for condominium unit owners, they don't have control over these services. You purchase a condominium and you essentially lose a large measure of control over your investment. It is in the hands of a few people. And the services that a condominium requires naturally to properly function and operate and ensure that there is proper maintenance and repair. It's unfortunate for condo unit owners, but when you're buying a condo unit now, you are going to have to think about the harmonized sales tax and the impact it's going to have on condo unit owners specifically, and how unbalanced that may be with regular individual homeowners.
This should have an impact on the condominium market, surely.
I would think that it would. Certainly, the condominium market in Toronto has been growing exponentially over the last several years. It is the largest city in Canada. At least it's the condo capital of Canada. It'd be interesting to see what does happen to the condo market as a result of this.
What are the other... there's lots and lots of issues that crop up with condos that people perhaps don't realize. Even if they read all the documents, have a really first-rate lawyer, they perhaps don't know some of the nuances of moving into a condo.
That's
what
right.
you're really very often moving into, I'm talking about a high-rise, is a vertical community.
That's right.
And
A city within a city.
a city with all its incumbent problems. And
That's right.
What are the major issues that you see from somebody who is going to come in and purchase a condo? What should they start looking out for, aside from the obvious?
Yeah. Right away, the first thing you should always look into is what are your responsibilities as a unit owner? And when you're purchasing a condo unit, make sure you have your lawyer explain to you what your maintenance and repair responsibilities are, because for most new condo owners, and these are first-time condo owners especially, they do not realize where their unit ends and the common elements begin, and what they are financially responsible for their unit. And they don't realize what portions of mechanical systems and other systems are part of their unit and what are not, and what they're responsible for. That's the first thing that always comes up, especially with new condo owners.
And the second?
And the second is learning to live within a high-rise city. It really is. And learning to understand the balancing the needs of everyone, as opposed to just one or two or just a few. The main thing with that issue is, of course, that they have to understand a board of directors does govern the condo, and that there is a lot of leeway a board of directors has to effect proper governance. And they have to let their board do that. There are mechanisms to hold their board accountable, but they have to give their board their leeway.
So at the end of the day, the board has a lot of discretionary power. And on that
Absolutely.
note, we come up to the 10:10 Time Saver Traffic, and here's Stu Andrews.